In this tutorial, I want to share some examples of how you can take public domain content and make it into a variety of different and unique products. So I'm going to be sharing 5 ways to make public domain content unique so it'll stand out in the marketplace. The first tip is to change the format. So for example, this one is about using cartoon drawings and breaking it down into steps on how to draw faces. So by changing the format, you can create a new piece of content you can publish. You can take something that's maybe visual and then create a worksheet out of it. You can also turn old advice into a video. This is super popular, and you can take things like recipes and fashion advice and turn it into a tutorial video and have people be able to implement tips for another era. So for example, you could try baking a depression cake and sharing the process with your audience so they can see how it works. So let me just show you a couple examples here on YouTube. You can see here I just put in old-time cake recipes, and we have a butter cake, old-fashioned, tea cakes, coffee cakes, and many of these are based on recipes that are in the public domain. So this is something you could do if you enjoy baking, of course, or anything else like that, where you can access public domain content and create new tutorials out of it. You could also use public domain to design an educational series. So SparkNotes, which does a lot of study notes, put together William Shakespeare's life and times. So you can use old books and public domain content for designing a series on the life and times of an author or everyday life in a certain era, which is something that people really like. You know, everyday life in Regency England, everyday life in the Old West. You could definitely put together something like that, whether it's a book, a slideshow, a blog series, and put something together like that just out of public domain content. You can create new patterns. This is also another great area where you can take what people have been doing and create patterns out of it. And not just patterns, but also any type of tutorial or anything that people could use. So for example, one Etsy shop features old Victorian costumes and sells them to customers. You could do something similar by taking patterns and updating them. Let me show you another quick example here. This is a website called Truly Victorian, and they have costume patterns specializing in the bustle area. So most likely they've taken them and made them unique and put work into them to make them more suitable for modern people. And you can see here that they are definitely, charging for their patterns, and they have some in different styles and things like that. Another way is to create basically a tip sheet or a cheat sheet or an infographic, so you can put together little things like this is an example of one from the Victorian period where they're talking about the era. This actually, to me, is something like an educational little infographic or a cheat sheet. And these are great to drive traffic. You can also use them as bonus gifts. You can sell them as educational printables. So there's a lot of different things you can do with these. So that's just really the tip of the iceberg with public domain content. So if you'd like to dig in even more and learn how to use it to do things like books and videos and tutorials more in depth, then you're going to want to check out my PD Goldmine training and software tool.